Chapter 81 Successful Ending. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone took turns to restore their soul power, and then waited for Douluo Bo to absorb the soul ring. After everyone recovered, they spread out around to prevent other soul beasts from breaking in. After Douluo Xian recovered his soul power, he checked Medusa's body. Because it was the body of the soul beast whose soul ring was absorbed by Douluo Bo, he asked Douluo Xian to check it. With good luck this time, a soul bone did appear, a head soul bone. It seems that the rarer the soul beast, the easier it is to produce soul bones. With this soul bone, Douluo Bo has 2 soul bones. Bones are much richer than in the original work. It seems that Yuan Changqing's arrival has changed Douluo Bo's fate a lot. This has indeed changed a lot. Douluo Xian is no longer riddled with toxins and sickly. He will live well in the future. Maybe Douluo Xian will have more than one child in the future. Time passed slowly. Douluo Bo also absorbed the soul ring, and everyone witnessed the birth of a titled Douluo with their own eyes. Yuan Changqing said jokingly, "Hey, old poison, congratulations to you. You have officially become a titled Douluo. I don't know how I feel now. I'd like to share it with you." Douluo Bo also cooperated. Ahem. I think I finally became a titled Douluo, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Everyone also laughed. After laughing, Douluo Xian came forward with the soul bone and said, "Dad, there is something even happier. Look, this Medusa also has a soul bone, which is a very precious head." Soul bones. Douluo Bo quickly took it, looked at it carefully, handed the soul bone to Yuan Changqing, and said, "Changqing, I'll give you this soul bone. If it weren't for your help, I wouldn't have survived so easily. With such a suitable soul ring like Medusa, plus your help to my Douluo family, this soul bone can be regarded as a thank you gift." Yuan Changqing looked at the soul bone handed over by Douluo Bo. He did not expect that Douluo Bo would give up the soul bone. After all, the combination of soul ring and soul bone from the same soul beast is the most suitable. It can be seen from Douluo Bo's behavior that Douluo Bo is indeed a person with clear grudges. If you get to know such a person, he will be no less helpful to Yuan Changqing than a piece of soul bone in the future. Therefore, Yuan Changqing postponed and said, "Okay, old poisoner, this soul bone is the most suitable for you, absorb it quickly. Since everyone is friends, there is no need to do this anymore. In the future, I will have a titled Douluo like you, which is indispensable." "Excuse me, don't you also have to contribute to Catherine's search for the soul ring?" Yuan Changqing said this, and everyone also advised Douluo Bo to absorb the soul bone quickly. Catherine's soul ring has not been found yet. Seeing Yuan Changqing say this, Douluo Bo didn't show any pretense and said, "Okay, then I will absorb it. In the future, if you can use my old poison, feel free to speak." Yuan Changqing smiled and said, "That's right. This soul bone can play its greatest role in the hands of your old poisoner. If my family looks for soul rings in the future, your help will be indispensable." Later, Douluo Bo absorbed the soul bone again. After the absorption was completed, his soul power was directly raised to level 92 titled Douluo. It was no longer level 91 as in the original work after decades, and he was still facing the crisis of toxins in his body breaking out at any time. After Douluo Bo became a titled Douluo, Yuan Changqing and others began to search for the soul beast again. Everyone spent several days in the forest, but still couldn't find a suitable soul beast. Yuan Changqing and the others did encounter a lot of soul beasts. However, the suitable soul beast either does not have enough years, or the age is suitable but the soul beast is not suitable. Chirp! A bird call came from the air above Yuan Changqing and others. Everyone looked up and found that it was an eagle-like spirit beast. Yuan Changqing said, "This soul beast is called the Golden Sword Eagle, which is suitable for Catherine. It is also a soul beast that is more than 10,000 years old, but I don't know how many thousands of years." Douluo Bo said, "It's okay, just catch it and take a look and you'll know." Yuan Changqing also nodded and said, "Okay, old poison, this is your first move as a titled Douluo, it's up to you." Then he turned to Catherine and his uncle and said, "This flying spirit beast is difficult to catch. Catherine, uncle, you and the old poisonous creature should intercept it from different directions to avoid escaping. Okay, let's do it like this. Douluo said. Then the three people jumped into the air, formed a triangle, surrounded the golden sword eagle, and finally started fighting in the air. Seeing this situation, Yuan Changqing said to the air, "Hurry up and take it down. Fighting in the air is too dangerous and it is easy to be exposed to the sight of other soul beasts." Because Douluo, a title Douluo, was here, it was easy to knock down the golden sword eagle. Douluo's snake venom was no joke now. After the golden sword eagle was shot down, it was also seriously poisoned, which made it convenient for Yuan Changqing and others on the ground. Yuan Changqing said to his sister-in-law and Douluo Xian, "Let's take action quickly and solve it as soon as possible, so that everyone can get out of the Star Do forest as soon as possible." Afterwards, Yuan Changqing and the other two men started taking action without waiting for Douluo, Catherine, and their uncle. The fourth soul skill, Diamond Lock. The fifth soul skill, Sword of Ice. The third soul skill is to corrode the Black Witch Snake. After Douluo and the others returned, they also joined the battle and attacked the Golden Sword Eagle. Although the Golden Sword Eagle was poisoned, it still had the power to fight back. I saw the Golden Sword Eagle sending out a large number of feather-like blades to attack everyone. Yuan Changqing and others also quickly launched defensive soul skills. The eighth soul skill, Freeze Time. After Douluo joined the battle, the Golden Sword Eagle was imprisoned on the ground. Seeing this, everyone began to attack the Golden Sword Eagle continuously, and the Golden Sword Eagle could only make a sharp cry. As time passed, Golden Sword Eagle could not withstand the attack of the title Douluo, and was finally killed by Catherine. A black soul ring appeared on the body. The age of this Golden Sword Eagle is not more than 78,000 years, which is older than Douluo's ninth soul ring. However, although the age of Douluo's ninth soul ring is not particularly high, it is appropriate. Moreover, soul beasts like Medusa are very rare, and its soul skills are also very strong. Therefore, sometimes, as long as the age of the soul ring is not too different, as long as it is suitable, only the soul ring that is suitable for the martial soul can exert its greatest power. Catherine sat next to the body of Golden Sword Eagle and began to absorb the soul ring. Yuan Changqing also began to examine the body of Golden Sword Eagle. It may be that Golden Sword Eagle died a very painful death, and a soul bone was actually produced, and it was also a trunk bone. It seems that Yuan Changqing and others were very lucky this time, and they all produced soul bones, which are still the two most precious among the 6 soul bones. Douluo obtained the head soul bone, and Catherine obtained the torso bone. Seeing Catherine wake up after absorbing the soul ring, Yuan Changqing handed the soul bone over and said, "Catherine, quickly absorb this soul bone as well." After Catherine finished absorbing the soul ring, Yuan Changqing handed her the torso bone again and asked her to absorb it quickly. Catherine didn't have much, so she started to absorb the soul bone again. Chapter 82 Development Issues. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Obtaining the soul ring this time was very successful. After Douluo obtained the 9th soul ring, he officially became a title Douluo and also obtained a head soul bone. The soul skill of Douluo's 9th soul ring this time is Jade Phosphor Divine Light, and the soul bone skill is Medusa's Gaze, which is the same as Medusa's signature soul skill. Catherine also obtained the 8th spirit ring, officially became a Contra and a Master, and also obtained the first spirit bone in her life. The soul skill of Catherine's 8th soul ring this time is Double Wing Cross Kill. The soul bone skill is a defensive soul skill, and the golden wing armor can form a protective armor composed of golden feathers. With Catherine and Douluo's soul ring successfully obtained, Yuan Changqing and others quickly left the Star Do forest. Those who obtained the soul rings gained very much this time. After everyone returned to Qingdao town, they rested for another night. When everyone was having dinner together in the hotel, Yuan Changqing also asked Douluo, "Old poisonous man, what are you going to give your title?" At this time, when everyone heard this, they were also curious. After all, it was the first time for everyone to witness the birth of a title Douluo. Regarding the title of the title Douluo, everyone also wanted to know what title Douluo gave himself. Douluo thought for a while and realized that his martial soul was the Jade Phosphorus Snake King. Its biggest characteristic was snake venom. The most powerful thing was poison. Douluo Bo said to everyone, "From now on, my title, Douluo Bo, will be poison, poison Douluo." Hearing that the title Douluo Bo gave him was poisonous, Yuan Changqing and others also thought of something, and felt that this title was indeed suitable for Douluo Bo. Yuan Changqing said, "Old Poison, we will call you Poison Douluo Mianxia from now on." After everyone heard this, they also laughed and spoke one after another, "Your Majesty, Poison Douluo." After hearing this, Douluo Bo was also happy and said, "Ha ha ha, it's the first time I heard someone call me that, and I feel pretty good in my heart. However, from now on, everyone should just call me Lao Poison." Later, after dinner, they also learned about Douluo Bo's title, and everyone went back to their rooms to rest. The next day, Yuan Changqing said goodbye to his sister-in-law and uncle, and embarked on the return journey. Tiando City. Yuan Changqing and the others returned to Tiando City after a dusty journey from the Star Do Forest. When they parted, Yuan Changqing also asked Douluo Bo, "Old Poison, now that you have become a title Douluo, do you want to register at the Spirit Hall?" Douluo Bo didn't think much and said, "Of course I want to go, so that the poison Douluo can be resounding throughout the Douluo Continent." After Yuan Changqing heard Douluo Bo's words, he didn't expect Douluo Bo to make such a choice. He just nodded and did not interfere. However, Yuan Changqing also told him, "Old Poison, you should be careful when you register. Wuhuan Palace is not that easy to deal with. For a wild title Douluo like you, Wuhuan Palace will definitely try its best. Win over." Douluo Bo said nonchalantly, "I, Douluo Bo, am used to being free, and I don't want to be bound by Wuhuan Hall. Besides, I just went to Wuhuan Hall to register. They will never force me to join Wuhuan Hall." Bar. This is not necessarily true. If Wuhuan Palace can't win you over, it can't suppress you or eliminate you obviously, but it can do it secretly. Although it is said that you can't have the intention of harming others, you must have the intention of guarding against others. So do you. You should be careful, there is a family behind you now. Douluo Xian was also a little worried and said, "Yes, father, I also think brother Yuan is right. Otherwise, you don't want to register in Wuhuan Palace. There is not much difference between registering and not registering. Anyway, you are all fighting with a title. Luo." Douluo Bo didn't hesitate and said, "The Wuhuan Palace is also the largest force in the Douluo Continent, so it won't do such a shameless thing, right?" Yuan Changqing smiled and said, "Hey, how do we know this, but it's good to be careful." Douluo Bo nodded and said, "Thank you very much, Changqing, for reminding me. I will think about it carefully." Yuan Changqing reminded Douluo Bo that Yuan Changqing could not control the final choice. Yuan Changqing said, "That old poison, brother Douluo, let's say goodbye here. I'll have tea with you when I have time in the future, or you can come to me." Okay. After returning from the soul hunt this time, Yuan Changqing also accelerated the construction of the formation base, waiting for the school holidays to start arranging the 7 stars and moon treasure land. After several years of development, the family has gradually stabilized. Due to the relatively late development, manpower has begun to be stretched, which has also resulted in the family's business not being able to expand well. Now they are still working in and around the Balik Kingdom, and they are also cooperating with Catherine's parents' house in Tiando City. Although Catherine's parents' side developed slightly earlier, due to their strength, they did not have much ability to expand. Now Yuan Changqing is also beginning to consider bringing Douluo Bo's family in to form a business alliance for common development. With the existence of Douluo Bo, a newly promoted Douluo, he would be more confident when encountering difficulties in business in the future. "Catherine, I want to ask your opinion on something." Yuan Changqing also talked about the business alliance and asked Catherine. Catherine was a little confused and said, "Husband, what's going on? You are the head of the family now, you just make the decision." "Ahem, it's not just my family's affairs, but also my father-in-law's. That's why I asked you." "Oh, that's right, then you shouldn't ask me, just discuss it with my dad and the others directly." When Yuan Changqing heard this, he had to say, "I don't want to ask you, let's go to my father-in-law's house together recently. Hee, okay, but what do you want to do with them? Want to know? Yuan Changqing asked deliberately. I want to know. Catherine nodded quickly. I won't tell you yet. After saying that, Yuan Changqing turned around and left to prepare. Catherine quickly grabbed Yuan Changqing's hand and said loudly, okay, have you had a bad temper recently? Are you actually in the mood to play tricks on me? Yuan Changqing and Catherine played together for a while. Wang Yuyan, who heard the commotion, also hurried over and saw the two of them fighting. Wang Yuyan said, Brother Changqing, Sister Catherine, what are you doing? Hearing Wang Yuyan's question, Catherine quickly said, Sister Yuyan, come and help me. Your brother Changqing wants to rebel. You and I need to suppress him. Yuan Changqing said quickly, no, we are joking. Okay, Catherine, let's get down to business first. Later, the three of them sat together, and Yuan Changqing also told the story. Catherine, I just want you to go back to your parents' house with me and ask about business matters. Catherine said, business matters? Aren't our family's business matters going well? Chapter 83 is now available. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's on the shelves today. It's my first time to write a novel, and I also like to read novels. After reading too much, I found that there was a shortage of books, so I decided to write it myself. It was my first time writing and I didn't have much experience, so I chose to write fan fiction. At the same time, I would also like to thank all readers for their support and encouragement. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. Finally, I would like to ask all readers to help recommend and collect it. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Thank you all again. Chapter 84 Negotiation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course it's nothing. I'm thinking about the follow-up development. As you know, my family's business has been in the Baloch Kingdom and can't go out. Do you know the reason? Yuan Changqing said the problem. Catherine thought for a while and said, don't tell me yet, I can still answer this question. The main reason is that the development time is too short. It only takes 7 years to fully calculate. Also, the strength is too weak at the beginning and it is not easy to develop. In recent years, our family has slowly developed after a few soul saints were born. I'm right. Yuan Changqing nodded and said, yes, that's why our family is involved in the Baloch Kingdom. There is also a problem of manpower, which is also a bottleneck in the business. Moreover, now you are already a contra-level master. If you are not a title Douluo, you will be invincible. As long as we don't provoke those big forces and those with title Douluo, we don't have to be afraid of anyone. Yuan Changqing's words also made Catherine look proud and felt extremely happy. Catherine happily said, then what are you going to tell my dad and the others? Yuan Changqing said to Catherine, what I am considering is to establish a business alliance. You also know that although our family also has some business in Tiando City, it is all cooperated with your parents' home. Therefore, if our two families want to develop, if we get up, we must unite even more. Also, isn't our family on good terms with Douluo's family now? How about we bring his family over to form a business alliance? Catherine said, I don't know either. You should discuss these issues with my parents. However, I think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Now that Douluo is a title Douluo, if we encounter troubles that we cannot solve in the future, this it's also a trump card, isn't it? Yuan Changqing nodded and said, then let's go to your house together one day and ask my father-in-law what they think. Okay, you decide the time. Well, I want to tell Grandpa and the others first. I'll call Grandpa here by the way. Also, I'll ask the old poisoner. Then we can get everyone together to discuss it. Half a month later, Grandfather Yuan Tao and his uncle Yi Xiaofan came to Yuan Changqing's house in Tiando City. After receiving Yuan Changqing's urgent letter, the two of them rushed over without stopping. Grandpa said, Changqing, you gave a general outline in your letter, but you didn't make it clear. Why did you call us here this time? That when his grandfather asked, Yuan Changqing explained the matter again and said, Grandpa, Uncle, you should know that the business at home has reached a bottleneck period of development. I called you here this time to discuss this matter. It's nothing. My younger uncle knows business matters best. Yuan Changqing's younger sister-in-law is now in charge of the business in the Balik Kingdom, and my father, Yuan Fei, and my younger uncle are in charge of arranging the goods. My uncle said. What Changqing said is true. Now the family's business has entered a stable period in the Balik Kingdom. Yuan Changqing added, besides, after all, the Balik Kingdom is too small and can no longer support the development of our family. In the future, as the family grows and develops, there is also the cultivation of talents. These all require resources, and now lack of manpower is also a problem that prevents the business from expanding. Grandpa said, then have you come up with any solution? Yuan Changqing nodded and said, I did think of a way, so I called you here to talk about this matter. Grandpa heard that there was a way, and said, then tell me, and your uncle and I will listen. Well, didn't our family cooperate with Catherine's family in some businesses in Tiando City? I think we can increase our cooperation. The two families can develop together through cooperation. In this way, our family's problem of being unable to expand the business due to lack of manpower can be solved. Get relief. Looking at his uncle again, Yuan Changqing added, my uncle also knows Douluo Bo, and now I have a good relationship with his family. My idea is to bring the Douluo Bo family in, and the three of us will form a business alliance to develop together. Grandpa thought for a while and then asked, your method is not bad, Douluo Bo. I also heard your uncle said it to poison Douluo, but I don't know if his family will agree. Yuan Changqing said, I can ask about this first. If it is feasible, we can all discuss the issue of this business alliance together. Well, then Changqing, you'd better ask poison Douluo first before talking about anything else. Grandpa suggested. Okay, Grandpa, I'll go tomorrow. You and your uncle will stay in Tiando City for a few days and take a look around. The next day, Yuan Changqing came to Douluo Bo's house alone. When he arrived, he found that only Douluo and his wife were at home. Yuan Changqing asked, Brother Douluo, why didn't you see your father? Douluo sighed, oh, my father went to the Wuhuan Palace to register for the title of Douluo. Oh, the old poisoner is still gone, you didn't try to persuade him again. Yuan Changqing was also a little surprised, but he didn't expect that Douluo Bo still went to Wuhuan Hall to register. Douluo looked helpless and said, why didn't you persuade me? Fei Yan also persuaded me, but it was useless. Afterwards, everyone was silent for a while. Hua Fian saw that the atmosphere was a little dull and said, Dr. Yuan, why are you the only one who came to my house? Why didn't Catherine and Yuyan come together? Yuan Changqing also felt that the atmosphere was a bit awkward and quickly replied, they are both busy at the clinic. Sister-in-law, if you have nothing to do, you can ask them to hang out together. Okay, I'll make an appointment with them when I'm free. We sisters still often go shopping together. It's good to go out and see more, so that they don't have to stay busy in the clinic all day. Well, okay, then you two can chat together, I have something to be busy with. Hua Fian felt that Yuan Changqing must have something to do when he came to the house today, so she found an excuse and left first. When Douluo saw Hua Fian leaving, he said, Brother Yuan, what's the matter with you coming here this time? Ha ha ha, Douluo, I don't go to the Three Treasures Palace for anything. I did come to discuss something with you and your father, but I didn't expect that your father is not at home. Yuan Changqing said with a smile. Douluo said, it's okay. Brother Yuan, you told me the same thing. Now my father seldom cares about family affairs. Fei Yan and I are in charge. Yuan Changqing paused and said, oh. Is that so? That's just right. I came here mainly to discuss something with your family. Douluo gave Yuan Changqing another cup of tea and said, Brother Yuan, please have some tea. Let's chat while drinking. After taking a sip of tea, Yuan Changqing sighed, Brother Douluo is still enjoying life. Haha, Brother Yuan is joking, aren't you the same? With two beautiful girls at home, life must be wonderful. Douluo said with a smile. Hee hee, Brother Douluo, it seems that you are very envious. Then I want to tell my sister-in-law. Yuan Changqing said deliberately. Douluo Continent quickly begged for mercy and said, Brother Yuan, please spare me. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's more important to talk about business. Ha ha ha. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 85 Union. You are listening at MedicalKnowledge. Yuan Changqing came to Douluo Bo's house and found that Douluo Bo was not at home, so he had a casual chat with Douluo Continent, and then talked about the reason for coming here. Yuan Changqing said, Brother Douluo, are you here mainly to talk about some business matters? Douluo Continent asked doubtfully, business matters? The business matters between our two families are about medicinal materials. Is there something wrong with the medicinal materials? Douluo's family is in the medicinal materials business. Because of the Wuhuan problem, they know a lot about medicinal materials. In order to solve the Wuhuan problem, the Douluo family has been paying attention to medicinal materials, and then slowly started to start a medicinal materials business. Just because we have been trying to solve the problem of toxins in the body, the medicinal materials business has not developed much, so the scale is not very big. It wasn't until Douluo Bo started to improve that the Douluo family's medicinal material business got on the right track. Hua Fian was usually in charge. Wang Yuyan's clinic also purchased some medicinal materials from Douluo Continent's family, so the two families were considered to have some intersection. Yuan Changqing said, it's not about medicinal materials, it's about other aspects of business. I came here to discuss it with your family. Douluo Continent said seriously, Brother Yuan, Fei Yan is taking care of my family's business, and I don't understand it very well. How about I call Fei Yan here first, and then you can talk about it? Yuan Changqing nodded and said, that's okay. It won't be too late to wait until my sister-in-law comes. Afterwards, Douluo asked Yuan Changqing to drink tea first, then went out to find Hua Fian. After a while, the two of them came back. Hua Fian asked, Dr. Yuan, I heard that Douluo Continent said that you came here this time because of business matters. Yes, sister-in-law, to tell you the truth, my family also has some business, but it is all in the Baloch Kingdom, and in the border city between the Baloch Kingdom and the Tiando Empire, so the business is not big. However, after several years of development, the business has reached a bottleneck, and there are many problems in expanding. After hearing what Yuan Changqing said, Hua Fian still didn't know why she came here this time, because the two businesses had no overlap. Hua Fian said, do you need any help when you come to my house? It counts as helping. I came here this time because I want to unite with your family and Catherine's family so that we can develop together. Sister-in-law, what do you think? Yuan Changqing explained. Hua Fian asked again, what kind of cooperation method? Yuan Changqing expressed his thoughts and said, the three of us will jointly establish a platform. For example, we can establish a business together. We can bring things to the business for sale, and the business can also purchase goods from outside and sell them. Moreover, just like your family's, the medicinal materials business is still yours, and if we don't interfere, it's like the business is purchasing goods from yours. Hua Fian thought for a moment and said, the business is jointly owned and operated by 3 companies. The original business of each company was just to sell goods to the business. Yuan Changqing nodded and said, yes, this way the 3 of us only need to send personnel to the business, which can also save a lot of resources and manpower. Hua Fian couldn't decide on her own and said, Dr. Yuan, I can't decide yet. I'll discuss it with Douluo Continent first. You wait here first. Then, Hua Fian and Douluo went to discuss elsewhere, and Yuan Changqing could only drink tea and wait for the result. After Douluo and his wife came back again, Hua Fian said, Dr. Yuan, my family agreed to this matter. I wonder how you arranged it. After hearing the result, Yuan Changqing breathed a sigh of relief and said, the 3 of us will make an appointment to discuss how to divide the company's shares. Douluo Continent said, okay, let's make it that way. I'll notify my family when the time comes and we can discuss it together. After talking about the matter, Yuan Changqing walked to Douluo's house and had a drink before going back. Later, he and Catherine went to his father-in-law's house and talked about it. Hans agreed. The three families joined together and became stronger. Besides, after joining together, there would be a titled Douluo in charge. I feel more confident. A few days later, Deguksen and his wife, father-in-law Hans and Uncle Tom, Yuan Changqing, grandfather and uncle came to Catherine's hotel together. They made an appointment here to discuss the alliance. The three families gathered together to discuss the establishment of a business, starting with the name of the business. Yuan Changqing said, "Since everyone is gathered together, let's give the business a name first. Everyone can think of a name. Let's call it Tianxia Trading Company. From now on, our goal is to open trading companies all over Douluo Continent. It's better to call it Huitong Trading House, so that items on Douluo Continent can be gathered in the trading house and travel through Douluo Continent. I think we should choose a simple name. Aren't we three companies united? Then we call it United Firm, which means strong alliance." Everyone named the name they thought of and gave their reasons. Finally, after some discussion, they felt it was better to choose something simple and commonplace, so they decided to use the joint name. After deciding on the name of the business, Yuan Changqing added, "What kind of business we want to open, and there are three of us, each has its own core business, these must be explained clearly first." Hua Fian said, "Yes, let's make it clear first to avoid conflicts in the future. Let's talk about my family first. My family is mainly in the medicinal materials business. From now on, my family will supply the medicinal materials for the company." Yuan Changqing and Hans both nodded, and Hans said, "My family's main business is hotels, and there are also some businesses that we cooperate with the Changqing family." Later, Yuan Changqing said, "My family mainly produces various drinks, and the others are some agricultural and sideline products." The three families all talked about their respective main businesses, and Yuan Changqing added, "The main businesses of the three of us will still belong to each company from now on. We will not interfere in each other's main business, but we will all operate within the company from now on. However, other matters of the company will be arranged by the company, and we will no longer interfere. However, the previous relationship must be maintained. For things like Brother Dugu's medicinal materials and my drinks, the company must pay directly for the purchase. These things must also leave some profit for the company. Also, father-in-law, if our store has the things your hotel needs, you have to purchase them from the store. As for the personnel arrangement of the company, the three of us jointly recruit people. That's all I have to say. If you have anything to add, please tell me." Hua Fian said, "Let's leave it as it is for now. We can make additional additions after we discover the problem again." Hans also nodded, and Yuan Changqing added, "Then the next step is the division of the firm's shares. Let's talk about how to divide it." Regarding the share issue, because the business was not big, no one cared too much, so in the end, Deguksen's family accounted for 40%, Yuan Changqing's family accounted for 40%, and Hengxi's family accounted for 20%, then, we started to discuss follow-up issues, how to develop the business name, etc. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 86 Bad Luck. You are listening at MedicalKnowledge. But Dugu Bo, an old poisoner, was very proud after being promoted to a title Douluo, thinking that his biphosphorus family had finally produced a title Douluo. "I just thought that going to the Douluo Hall of Wuhuan Hall and hang up my title would be a matter of honor for the ancestors," although, after returning from soul hunting with Yuan Changqing and others, Yuan Changqing also reminded some of the worries about going to Wuhuan Palace, but Dugu Bo also said that he would consider it. Dugu Xian was also a little worried at home because of Yuan Changqing's reminder, and together with his wife Hua Fian, he persuaded Dugu Bo not to go to Wuhuan Palace to register for a title. However, Dugu Bo thought that such a powerful force as Wuhuan Palace could not accommodate a title Douluo, so he did not take Yuan Changqing's reminder seriously and insisted on registering a title at Wuhuan Palace. Dugu Xian couldn't help but could only say, "Father, since you are determined to go, you should be more careful. You must not have the intention of harming others, and you must be on guard against others. It is also good to be vigilant." Douluo Bo said, "Okay, I understand. Besides, you are now a titled Douluo. You are the top being on the mainland. What do you have to be afraid of? Furthermore, it is impossible for Wuhuan Palace to really risk the disapproval of the world and forcefully detain me. Then wouldn't Wuhuan Palace become the target of public criticism? So, Xianer, you and Fei Yan don't have to worry too much, just wait for my glorious return." Even if Douluo Bo said this, Douluo Xian was very reluctant to let Douluo Bo go. "You said that the Douluo family finally gave birth to a titled Douluo, and now the hidden danger of the family's martial spirit has been solved. If something really happens, you can find who can reason." Douluo Bo also knew that his family cared about him, but he was still a little excited when he thought about being able to hang his title in the Douluo Hall within the Wuhuan Hall. After all, the reputation of Wuhuan Temple at this time was indeed good. People on Douluo Continent admired Wuhuan Temple very much before the Divine War. The Soul Masters on the mainland all hoped to join Wuhuan Temple and use it to this as an honor, so, when Douluo Bo thought of this, he suddenly no longer had so many worries, and happily embarked on the road to Wuhuan Palace. However, Douluo Bo was disappointed. The Wuhuan Palace at this time was not like before when Qian Daolu was still the Pope. Since Qian Xuanji became the Pope, Wuhuan Palace has slowly changed. Douluo Bo had heard some of these things from the mainland before. However, Douluo Bo also thought that it was normal for Wuhuan Palace to have a few rat droppings after it had existed for so long, so he didn't take it seriously. Although Qiang Sunji is also an angel spirit, like Qian Daolu, he cannot inherit the throne of the angel god. I wonder if this is because the angel spirit is female, so he needs the angel spirit of a female soul master. Only those with souls can inherit the divine status. Perhaps because of this, Qian Xuanji, who originally had an angel spirit, should inherit the qualities of an angel god, but he could not inherit the god's position, so his personality changed. He has become more domineering and gloomy, and I won't talk about Yin. After all, Yin is a human being transformed from the blue-silver emperor for 100,000 years, which is inherently opposed to human beings. However, just because Douluo Bo went to register for a title, Wuhuan Palace couldn't win him over, so they secretly pursued Douluo Bo, maybe chasing him, or maybe it was a warning. After all, Douluo Bo was also a titled Douluo, so sending a Jew Douluo would most likely be warning. It would be best if you can kill it. It's like hunting a rabbit with straw. There is also Bibi Dong, she is Qiang Sunji's apprentice, and the secret room incident actually happened in the end. Therefore, Bibi Dong later sucked the seriously injured Qiang Sunji into a human body, and Qiang Sunji also paid his death for it. The price was high, and Bibi Dong also hated the Wuhuan Palace and thought about destroying the Wuhuan Palace every moment. These are what Yuan Changqing knew or guessed after seeing Douluo Continent in his previous life. Therefore, he was reminded when Douluo Bo became a titled Douluo. But he didn't expect that Douluo Bo, an old poisoner, still chose to go to Wuhuan Palace. This may be the corrective power of fate. After a long journey, Douluo Bo finally arrived at Wuhuan Palace. Seeing the majestic city of Wuhuan Palace, he thought that he would soon leave his name as Poison Douluo in Douluo Palace, and he felt excited. Excited, Douluo Bo came to the center of Wuhuan City, in front of the Pope's palace, and said to the guards there, "My name is Douluo Bo, and I have now become a titled Douluo. This time I came to Wuhuan Palace to carve a title on the Douluo Palace. Please report my account immediately." Seeing that it was a titled Douluo, the guard saluted respectfully and said, Your Majesty, the titled Douluo, please wait a moment, I will go and report it right away." After a while, the guard came over with a soul master. Judging from the aura of the soul master, he was also a titled Douluo, and he was stronger than Douluo Bo. The titled Douluo said, "You must be the newly promoted titled Douluo. Show your martial spirit ring." After Douluo Bo showed his soul ring, 9 soul rings fell from Douluo Bo one by one, and the titled Douluo from the spirit hall also nodded. Then, he motioned to Douluo Bo and said, "Your Excellency, come with me to the Douluo Palace." "Have you thought about the title you want to engrave on the Douluo Palace?" Douluo Bo said, "Your Excellency, I had already thought about it before I came here. My title is called Poison." After arriving at the Douluo Hall, someone specially brought a plaque specifically for the title Douluo. The title Douluo from Wuhuan Palace said to Douluo, "Sir, should you engrave your title yourself, or should we from Wuhuan Palace help us carve it in?" Douluo thought it would be better to carve it himself, so he said, "It would be more meaningful for me to carve it myself." Later, Douluo carved the word poison on the plaque, and then the plaque symbolizing Douluo's title would be enshrined in the Douluo Hall. After all the procedures are completed, Douluo's visit to Wuhuan Hall this time can be considered completed. The title Douluo from Wuhuan Palace said, "Your Excellency Poison Douluo, I wonder if you are willing to join our Wuhuan Palace. If you are willing, you can be directly promoted to become an elder-level figure in our Wuhuan Palace." Douluo had already thought about it. He didn't want anyone to control him. Wouldn't it be nice to live a free life? So, Douluo refused and said, "Sir, I am used to being free on my own, so I will not join the Wuhuan Palace. Thank you very much for the Wuhuan Palace's kindness." The title Douluo didn't force it, he just nodded and took Douluo out of the Douluo Hall, thinking about walking outside the Spirit Hall. After Douluo came to Wuhuan Hall, someone reported it to Qian Xuanji. After Douluo left, they also reported Douluo's unwillingness to join Wuhuan Hall. After Qian Xuanji found out, he felt that Douluo, a newly promoted title Douluo, was a little disrespectful, so he sent Zhu Douluo to intercept him. When Douluo saw that Wuhuan Palace was wooing him, he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He was also cautious when leaving Wuhuan City, and he didn't feel relieved until he was far away from Wuhuan Palace. Nothing happened along the way, so I felt too worried, so I relaxed, until I entered the territory of the Tiando Empire, and an accident happened. The sixth soul skill, Golden Rui Flowing Clouds. While Douluo was not paying attention, Zhu Douluo directly launched his soul skill, and saw a large number of chrysanthemum petals wrapped in soul power, like flying knives, attacking Douluo. Because it was a sneak attack, Douluo hurriedly avoided before being hit, but he was still hit and injured. "Zhu Douluo, you are such a sissy. I didn't expect your Spirit Hall to be so shameless. Isn't it because I don't want to join the Spirit Hall? You actually sent people to hunt me down." Douluo said loudly, and at the same time he quickly defended himself. An attack. The fifth soul skill, Snake Python Tiangang Shield. The sixth soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor Break. The eighth soul skill, Shining Brightly. Zhu Douluo also used his soul skill again. The soul skills of Douluo and Zhu Douluo collided, and a Jade Phosphorus Snake King and a Golden Beam of Light collided. The powerful shock wave made the two of them retreat. Both sides were also constantly testing, because Douluo was well versed in the art of poison, and he unknowingly released the Jade Phosphorus Snake Venom, and Zhu Douluo also unknowingly inhaled a lot of snake venom. As time passed, Zhu Douluo also felt that something was wrong. He knew that he had been poisoned at some point, so he decided to make a quick decision, otherwise the longer the time dragged on, the worse it would be for him. "Douluo, I didn't expect you to be able to poison without knowing it." The ninth soul skill, Chrysanthemums are broken, leaving wounds all over the ground, and people's hearts are broken when the flowers fall. Zhu Douluo used his strongest power as he spoke. Soul skills. The ninth soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Divine Light. Not to be outdone, Douluo also used the soul skill he had just obtained and wanted to test its power. Then, he saw chrysanthemums all over the sky and flying knives towards Douluo. However, they met the green phosphorus Divine Light halfway and were hit by the Divine Light, turning into powder and falling to the ground. However, the two of them had a hard time. They were affected by the collision of soul skills and suffered considerable injuries. At this time, in the distance, an army came towards the battlefield. As the army approached, it was discovered that it was the army of the Tiando Empire. Zhu Douluo also had the intention to leave, knowing that he could not take down Douluo today, and he was poisoned again, so he said cruel words to Douluo before leaving. "Douluo, you old poisoner, I want you to look good next time I see you." After finishing speaking, Douluo left without waiting for a response. Douluo also said loudly to Zhu Douluo, "Sissy, be careful next time and don't let me touch you. Your Majesty, Shui Xing is the prince of the Tiando Empire. Is there anyone who needs help?" Xuexing came to Douluo and asked. This time Xuexing also helped to solve the problem, otherwise, it might end up being a lose-lose situation. Douluo said, "It's okay. My opponent left after seeing you. This time I owe you a favor." Xuexing said quickly, No, it's an honor for me to be able to help you." Later, knowing that Xuexing was returning to Tiando City, Douluo took Xuexing's carriage and headed for Tiando City together. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 87 Qi and Blood Golden Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, Yuan Changqing still doesn't know about the bad luck that Douluo encountered. The three of them are still busy with the business of the business. With the establishment of the joint company, the three companies began to dispatch manpower to inspect various places. Because the Baloch Kingdom was not big, Yuan Changqing's family had already developed well before, therefore, this time we just changed the store to a joint store, and the store headquarters also sent some people there, and also transferred some people to other places. This alliance of the three companies also marks the joint company's comprehensive development in the Tiando Empire. After the affairs of the business are arranged, there will be dedicated people to run it, and they only need to supervise it. Yuan Changqing's family is also discussing the future development of the family. Yuan Changqing said, "Grandpa, from now on the family only needs to manage the winery in the village. Now that the business has a joint company, we don't have to worry so much. We only need to supervise the accounts." Grandpa responded, "That's fine. Now that the three families are united, we can have more time to practice, cultivate some talents, and enhance our foundation." Well, that's right. If there are people with good talents in the orphanage we open, we can provide more resources to cultivate them. Also, if there are people with good talents outside, we can also bring them into the family and train them from an early age. Such people will grow up in the future. Only when you get up will you become more loyal. Yuan Changqing also talked about some things about the training of family soul masters. Grandpa added, "I plan to leave it to your father and uncle to do what you mentioned in the future." Well, that's okay. Although our family is still supervising the business in the Baloch Kingdom, as long as we don't run into trouble, we will have time. Yuan Changqing also agreed. The younger uncle said, "Yes, I will be liberated from now on. I can practice well and strive to practice Contra as soon as possible. Since the immortal grass you gave me last time, Changqing, to evolve my martial soul, I also see hope for title Douluo." When Yuan Changqing heard what his uncle said, he was also happy and said, "Yes, stepping up your cultivation is the top priority now. When you become a title Douluo, our family will be more confident." My uncle also said confidently, "Yes, but in a few years, I will be sure to advance to Contra." "Oh, it seems I have to congratulate you in advance, my uncle. Your soul power is now almost level 78. Hehe, it's coming soon. It will probably take another 1 or 2 months to reach level 78. Speaking of the soul power level, my uncle also happily replied. Yuan Changqing added, "Ha, when my uncle you become Contra, our family's high-end combat power will be improved." After everyone talked about family matters for a while, Grandpa said, "Changqing, we have been here for some time, and we plan to go back tomorrow." Yuan Changqing quickly said, "Grandpa, why don't you stay a few more days?" "No, business matters also need to be handed over. We can help handle them when we get back to avoid problems." My uncle also said, "Yes, Changqing, we really have to go back to help with the handover to avoid getting into trouble." When Yuan Changqing heard what they said, he didn't force himself and said, "Okay, these things must be handled properly." As time went by, the joint company gradually developed and developed smoothly. Now the united company headquartered in Tiando City, Catherine also came here to work on behalf of Yuan Changqing's family, and Yuan Zilong also followed. Each of the three companies has representatives going there. They mainly go to the headquarters. If there are things that cannot be handled below, they can be dealt with in a timely manner. Ever since Catherine became a Contra, she gradually made different discoveries in the 8th level of the Eternal Spring art she practiced. Husband, I found that Changqing Ju is now constantly gathering the energy and blood in the body. Catherine told Yuan Changqing about the development. Yuan Changqing quickly asked, Catherine, please tell me how we got together. While practicing, I feel that qi and blood are constantly gathering towards the place where the soul power is stored. Moreover, there is already something the size of a grain of rice there. As long as I practice, qi and blood will be drawn in. Catherine said to herself feelings. Yuan Changqing said thoughtfully, this may be the effect of the 8th level of Changqing Ju. In the future, as your practice deepens, the millet grain-like thing in your body may become a qi and blood golden pill, just like the poison pill that Douluo Bo used last time is the same, but the reason for its formation is different. After hearing the qi and blood golden pill, Catherine said doubtfully, then what's the use of it? Now every time I finish practicing, I feel very hungry, and my appetite has increased recently. Let me tell you, why have you had such a good appetite recently? It turns out that this is the reason. The function of this qi and blood golden elixir should be to maintain the peak state for a long time. It can be maintained through food or some big supplements. You also know that any time as age increases, the body's physical condition will slowly decline, which means that qi and blood are being lost. Yuan Changqing thought of the description of the qi and blood golden pill in his previous life and explained. He added, for example, if a titled Douluo stays at a certain level for a long time and cannot be promoted, then he will also decline from his peak state. It is just because of his strength that he will last a little longer than other soul masters. So, with the qi and blood golden pill, we will be able to keep our strength at its peak for a long time. Catherine asked again, oh, that's not bad, husband, what effect do you think the 9th level will have? After Catherine asked this, Yuan Changqing also thought carefully about Eternal Spring technique. This exercise is a Taoist exercise. Judging from the previous effects, the more he thinks about it, the more he feels that it is the same as the pre-Qin Qi practitioners in his previous life. From the foundation building on the 1st level, it was followed by skin refining, meat refining, blood refining, menstruation quenching, bone refining, marrow refining, and spirit refining. Now the 8th level is the golden elixir for condensing qi and blood. Could this be the virtual elixir? The 9th level is the golden elixir. In Douluo Continent, in addition to flying martial arts, only titled Douluo can fly, and qi practitioners can also fly with golden elixirs. The more Yuan Changqing thought about it, the more he felt that this Changqing Ju was just a qigong practice book, with 3 more layers behind it. Could it be Yuanying, Yuanshan, and Anti-Su Hadao? The more I think about it, the more I feel that if this is true, then it means that you can become a god in this world without having to find any godly position and just rely on cultivation. The more I thought about it, the more confused I became, and I felt like I was thinking too much. Catherine saw Yuan Changqing was silent for a long time, sitting there looking thoughtful, and frowning from time to time. Catherine shook Yuan Changqing and asked, husband, what's wrong with you? Why don't you speak and answer my questions? Ahem, I'm sorry, Catherine, I was just thinking about the questions you asked, and I got a little obsessed. Yuan Changqing explained. Then what did you think of? I saw you looking worried just now. Yuan Changqing hesitated for a moment and then said, I thought of it, but I'm just not sure. What is that? Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 88 Guess. You are listening at MedicalKnowledge. Yuan Changqing actually didn't know much about qi practitioners. In his previous life, he had only heard of qi practitioners from the pre-Qin dynasty, as well as qi practitioners and immortals in some novels. In real society, there are Taoist holy places and Buddhist holy places, as well as some hermits in deep mountains and old forests, but there is no such thing as qi training and immortality. They are just exercises to strengthen the body. On the contrary, the current Changqing Ju is something from the past life. Could it be that there were really qi practitioners in the previous earth during the pre-Qin period? So before the pre-Qin period, there was not a period when cultivation was prevalent, but later, due to unknown reasons, those qi practitioners left, and some qi training methods were passed down. Although I don't know if what I heard in my previous life is true, this eternal spring secret is really good, Yuan Changqing said. The 9th level may form a golden elixir in the body. Catherine was a little confused and said, then what's going on with this qi and blood golden pill now? Don't you feel it yourself? The pill the size of a rice grain in your body is pulling your qi and blood. So, as the name suggests, it's called qi and blood golden pill. Then what's the difference between this qi blood golden elixir and the golden elixir? Catherine expressed the question in her mind. Yuan Changqing replied, I have never experienced it, and I am not sure, so I am just speculating. However, I think it is probably about unifying the soul power and spiritual power in our bodies to form a brand new golden elixir. Then, he added, you also know that the strength of a title Douluo is a qualitative improvement, which requires the unification of all the strength of the body. Therefore, the golden elixir may have the same reason. Catherine nodded and felt that Yuan Changqing's guess was reasonable. Putting aside the speculations in his mind, Yuan Changqing said, okay, let's practice hard. We'll know when we get to the title Douluo. There's no use thinking about it now. Well, that's true, then don't think about it, let's sleep. Afterwards, the two of them cuddled together and fell asleep. Although Yuan Changqing said not to think about it, Catherine's discovery made Yuan Changqing confused. The thought of being able to practice qi and become an immortal makes me feel a little excited. In my 2 lifetimes, it would be false to say that I have not had a dream of practicing qi and becoming an immortal. Cultivation as an immortal means you can live forever. Although you can live forever after becoming a god in Douluo Continent, based on what Yuan Changqing knows, being a god here is not that easy. The gods in the god realm are not that free, and they are not thinking about how to pass on the divine status, so as to step down from the divine status and pursue a higher realm. Moreover, as a god in the god realm, if you are always on the throne, then your strength will always be that strength. That is why Tang San and the others succeeded to the throne. Now, Yuan Changqing is thinking about his own future and the future of his family because of Catherine. If the secret of Changchun is really what he guessed, it would be awesome. In this way, Yuan Changqing no longer has to worry about the future battle. As long as he practices step by step, his strength will improve, although it is not like inheriting the divine position, where the strength is achieved in one step, but with the help of skills, one can rise step by step. Thinking about it, Yuan Changqing slowly fell asleep. In his dream, Yuan Changqing saw the scene of himself walking around the world with his sword, and a smile appeared on his face unconsciously. The next day, when he woke up in the morning, Yuan Changqing felt that his energy was much better than before. He thought maybe it was because he had a good dream last night. The last time I went to Dugu Xian's house, I found out that Dugu Bo had gone to Wuhuan Hall to register for a title, and I was a little worried. After all, Dugu Bo was now the trump card of the 3 of them. Yuan Changqing also knew that Dugu Bo was an unruly person, and also knew that Wuhuan Palace had become a title Douluo because of Dugu Bo, and wanted to recruit him into Wuhuan Palace. Later, Dugu Bo was hunted down because of his unwillingness. Although, now because of Yuan Changqing, Dugu Bo's strength is different from that in the original work. His strength is much higher, and he is a master of using poison. It shouldn't be a big problem. In the original work, Dugu Bo's strength was greatly reduced because his own poison was not resolved. After being injured by Ju Douluo, he was saved by Prince Snow Star of the Tiando Empire. I just don't know if it will be the same as the original work this time. Result, when Yuan Changqing came to Deguxin's house, he also learned that Dugu Bo had returned. Afterwards, the 3 of them sat together and drank tea, and Dugu Bo also talked about his experience of going to Wuhuan Hall. When Dugu Bo said that, he also sighed and said, Changqing, I really should listen to you and don't go to that Lao Shitzi Wuhuan Hall to register for a title. I originally thought that my biphosphorus family would give birth to a title Douluo. Thinking about honoring our ancestors, we went to the Wuhuan Hall to register. However, what I didn't expect was that the Wuhuan Palace would be so shameless. Just because I didn't want to join the Wuhuan Palace, they shamelessly came after me behind my back. Fortunately, with Changqing's help, we solved the problem of the jade phosphorus snake spirit. Otherwise, I would have really suffered a big loss this time. Yuan Changqing was also curious about what happened and asked, Old Poison, is it true that the Wuhuan Palace sent people to hunt you down because you are unwilling to join the Wuhuan Palace? Dugu Bo thought for a moment, but felt a little unsure, so he guessed, as for chasing me, it's really hard to say. Maybe it's because I don't want to join Wuhuan Hall, and he is a person with no power. Maybe it's because I'm not willing to join Wuhuan Hall. Give me a warning, Dugu Xin said angrily, just because he didn't want to join the Spirit Hall, he sent people to hunt him down. That Spirit Hall is too overbearing, and this Douluo Continent does not belong to his Spirit Hall. Yuan Changqing also said, although I am not really chasing you, Old Poison, I can't rule out the possibility. After all, you, Old Poison, have just been promoted to the title Douluo. The Spirit Hall may also be using it to kill rabbits. It's best if I don't kill you, but it can also serve as a warning. After hearing what Yuan Changqing said, Dugu Bo felt that it was very likely that it was true, and he felt depressed and angry. Dugu Bo also said angrily, it seems that Wuhuan Palace treats me as a soft persimmon. I must give Wuhuan Palace a good look in the future. Huh, Old Poisoner, I warned you not to go at the beginning, but now you're dumb. But which title Douluo from Wuhuan Palace is chasing you this time? Yuan Changqing asked Dugu Bo teasingly. Hee, it's that sissy Jew Douluo. Next time I meet him, I will give him a hard blow. Thinking of Jew Douluo's appearance, Dugu Bo also found it funny. Yuan Changqing also thought that Jew Douluo's appearance was indeed more feminine, and his voice was just like that of a eunuch. No wonder Dugu Bo found it funny. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 89 Encounter. You are listening at MedicalKnowledge. After Dugu Bo went to the Wuhuan Palace to register for a title, Yuan Changqing knew that he was still following the old path and was still being chased by Jew Douluo. Yuan Changqing asked, how was your fight with Jew Douluo, old poisonous creature? At this point, Dugu Bo fell silent. Seeing this, Dugu Xin said, what else can I do? I was injured by that sissy Jew Douluo. If I hadn't happened to meet Prince Xuexing, I don't know how badly I would have been injured. Sample. Seeing Dugu Xin shaking these things out, Dugu Bo was also a little embarrassed, and said unhappily, that's why I was promoted to the title Douluo, and it was the sissy in Juhua Pass who attacked me in a sneak attack, and I was injured. Dugu Xin's words directly asked Dugu Bo to tell Jew Douluo's nickname. As for whether it was a sneak attack, only the person involved knew. Hey, old poisoner, I didn't expect that you, a poison user, would be injured. However, how strong is Jew Douluo? Yuan Changqing continued to ask as he watched Dugu Bo slump. Ahem, Juaguan's strength should be about the same as me. Otherwise, how could I be injured this time because of that sissy's sneak attack? Hee, but after being poisoned by me, Juaguan should not feel uncomfortable this time. Thinking of this, Dugu Bo also smiled happily. Then why did you meet Prince Snowstar? It was an accidental encounter. Prince Xuexing and his army had just returned to Tiando City from abroad. He saw me and Juaguan fighting. Maybe Juaguan didn't want to provoke a conflict with the Tiando Empire, so he stopped. Then, Juaguan just leave, otherwise, in the end, it is likely to be a lose-lose situation. At the end of the day, Dugu Bo was also a little lucky that he had just been promoted to title Douluo and encountered such a thing. If both sides really lost, he really didn't know what would happen next. Speaking of which, Dugu Bo must have regretted going to the Wuhuan Palace to register for a title. It should have been a happy thing to get a title as a Douluo, but it was depressing that the Wuhuan Palace did not respect martial ethics. Yuan Changqing said again, it seems that Prince Xuexing has saved you. Dugu Xin said with some disdain, that's what I said, but I didn't do this because I saw that my father was a titled Douluo and had not joined any force. If a titled Douluo from another force, Prince Snow Star, was still if you don't hurry up, run far away. After thinking about it, it was indeed the case. Prince Xuexing was still very good at seizing opportunities. No wonder he was able to protect Xuebang and put Xuebang on the throne. Yuan Changqing said, it seems that Prince Shueshing is also a smart person, but it's better to be careful when dealing with smart people. Douluo Bo said nonchalantly, what are you afraid of? In the face of strength, everything is false. As long as you have strength, are you afraid of others plotting against you? Old Poison, what you said is indeed true, but you also have a family. It would be bad if you were plotted without a trace and were involved in a fight with other forces. Yuan Changqing reminded again. Douluo Xian also said, yes, brother Yuan is right. Although we are not afraid, it is also good to have less unnecessary trouble. Yuan Changqing talked about Wuhuan Palace again and said, this Wuhuan Palace believes in the angel god. Doesn't it mean that the angel god is kind, pure, and yearns for the light? Now it seems that after such a long period of development, this Wuhuan Palace has also become dark and dark. Rotten. Haha, if you want to say that Wuhuan Palace was like this in the past, let's just say that Wuhuan Palace helps children all over the Douluo Continent awaken their martial souls for free. This is really a good thing. Douluo Bo has experienced a lot after all, and knows how to fight. There are a lot of things going on in Douluo Continent. This is indeed the case. Otherwise, there are still many people who cannot awaken their martial souls. If these countries on the Douluo Continent were to do this, they would definitely regard awakening their martial souls as a business. Yuan Changqing also sighed with emotion. Said, Douluo Bo continued, although Wuhuan Palace had some problems in the past, it is understandable. After all, any power will have some problems after a long time. However, since the new Pope Qian Xuanji came to power, Wuhuan Palace has become more and more domineering. I didn't believe it before and thought it was hearsay. But now after this experience, I know it is true. Alas, it seems Douluo Continent will be troubled again from now on. Thinking of all the things that will happen in Douluo Continent in the future, Yuan Changqing also sighed, old poisonous man, we don't have to be sad for the spring and the autumn. Even if something happens, it won't be found on our heads for the time being. After all, if something happens, the taller ones will bear it. It's not our turn. However, if there really is a fight between those big forces, and it even affects the two empires, it will be a hardship for the common people. Douluo Bo looked at Yuan Changqing in surprise and said, Changqing, I didn't expect you to be a kind-hearted person and care about the common people. I really didn't notice it, hee. Ahem, old poisoner, judging from what you said, I also came from the common people, and I know what life is like for the common people. Yuan Changqing said angrily. Douluo Bo comforted him, Changqing, you don't have to worry too much. The mainland is relatively stable for the time being. You don't need to think too much. If it really happens, just help if you can in the future. Yuan Changqing also nodded and said, now we should work hard to practice. Only when we have strength can we solve the problem. But, old poisoner, are your injuries healed now? They are all minor injuries, nothing serious. They are almost healed. That's good. Now you should also know the joint business name of the three of us. From now on, old poison, you will be our trump card. If we encounter something that cannot be solved, we will have to rely on you, hee. Don't worry, Changqing. This is all a trivial matter. If there is really a blind person, I don't mind letting them know why my account is banned. Yuan Changqing praised, domineering, old poisonous creature. Ha. After coming out of Douluo Bo's house, Yuan Changqing felt relieved. It seemed that Douluo Bo was not like before. Because of his martial spirit, his strength was limited and he could not exert his full strength. In the evening, after seeing Yuan Changqing come back, Catherine said, Husband, where have you been today? Wang Yuyan also looked over, and Yuan Changqing said, I didn't go anywhere. I just went to Deguxin's house to see if the old poisoner was there. Then you've been away for a day, so it seems you should be at home. Catherine affirmed. Ha, Catherine, you are really smart. You are indeed at home, so you stayed there for a day and chatted about some things. Wang Yuyan said, Brother Changqing, what did you talk about? Tell me and Sister Catherine too. Yuan Changqing replied, we just talked about some old poisonous things going to Wuhuan Hall, it was really exciting. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe. Chapter 90 Disintegration. You are listening at MedicalKnowledge. Yuan Changqing told Catherine and Wang Yuyan some of what happened when Douluo Bo went to Wuhuan Hall. Catherine said, this is too unlucky. Didn't you already remind Douluo Bo? Why did you go anyway? Hey, I don't know what the old poison is thinking. Maybe he wants to make the name of the Douluo family famous. Wang Yuyan also said in disbelief, how could Wuhuan Palace do such a thing? Wang Yuyan can ask this question because Wuhuan Palace has great importance in the hearts of the civilians in Douluo Continent, because with the help of Wuhuan Palace, so many civilians martial arts can awaken and practice, Yuan Changqing said. How is this impossible? The Wuhuan Palace is now the largest force in the Douluo Continent, and it has existed for such a long time. Naturally, it has behaved arrogantly. Therefore, in the future, in terms of strength, it's better not to cause friction with the Wuhuan Palace when it's not enough. Yeah, I understand. The two women responded at the same time. After the weekend break, Yuan Changqing returned home and found that Lu Erlong was also there, and he was not in good spirits. I haven't seen the Golden Triangle for almost 2 years, and I only heard about the deeds of the three of them occasionally, Yuan Changqing said. Why does Miss Lu Erlong have time to come here to play? Lu Erlong smiled reluctantly and said, Teacher Yuan, you should call me Lu Erlong or Erlong. I have been in Tiando City recently. Catherine and Yuyan left me their address last time. So, today just come and see them. Well, that's good. What about Flanders and Yuxiaojiang? Are they also in Tiando City? Upon hearing Yuan Changqing's question, Lu Erlong's brows furrowed inadvertently, as if he was hesitant to speak. Catherine quickly interrupted and said, Husband, why are you asking so many questions? Didn't you see that Erlong was in a bad mood? Catherine's words also made Lu Erlong less embarrassed. Lu Erlong said sadly, It's okay, Teacher Yuan doesn't know my situation. Then, he added, now that the Golden Iron Triangle has been disbanded, everyone has separated. I came to Tiando City. I thought that you are here in Tiando City, so I came to see you. Looking at Lu Erlong's look, Yuan Changqing also knew what happened. The reason why Lu Erlong looked like this must be because of her and Yu Xiaojiang's affairs. Speaking of which, Yu Xiaojiang is also a tragic figure in Douluo Continent. As the legitimate son of the current patriarch of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family, he has had high hopes since he was a child. However, God seems to have played a big joke on Yu Xiaojiang. Awakening his martial spirit was actually not the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he had awakened the malignant mutated martial spirit Luo Sanpao, with half a level of innate soul power. Since the martial arts awakened, Yu Xiaojiang's nightmare began. He was marginalized and made things difficult by his family members. Finally, Yu Xiaojiang couldn't bear it anymore and left the family. Afterwards, Yu Xiaojiang wandered around Douluo Continent. Because of his half-level innate soul power, he knew that no matter how hard he practiced, he would never achieve anything great, so he read through the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family's collection of books, which also gave him a deep understanding of martial arts. On the way to wandering, Yu Xiaojiang met Bibi Dong again. At that time, Bibi Dong was still a simple girl. Although Yu Xiaojiang was not very strong, but with his profound knowledge and eloquence, he did not know how to deal with it. Unknowingly, he captured Bibi Dong's heart. Through Bibi Dong's relationship, Yu Xiaojiang came into contact with more knowledge about Wuhuan in Wuhuan Hall. However, the good times did not last long, and his relationship with Bibi Dong was discovered by Qian Xuanji. In the end, he was also humiliated. After driving out of Wuhuan City, Yu Xiaojiang felt that God had played a big joke on him again. Later, Yu Xiaojiang met Flanders and Lu Erlong again, and also discovered that the martial souls of the three people were sensitive to each other and could fuse together to form the martial soul fusion skill, Golden Holy Dragon. At that time, the Haotian double star was famous in Douluo Continent, and many people on the Douluo Continent worshipped the powerful strength of the Haotian double star. After discovering that martial souls could be fused, Yu Xiaojiang and the others followed the example of the Haotian double star and formed the golden iron triangle. This combination indeed made the three of them quite famous on the Douluo Continent. It may be because of their martial soul fusion skills that Flanders and Yu Xiaojiang fell in love with Lu Erlong at the same time. It may also be because their martial soul fusion skills are based on the weakest Yu Xiaojiang, which makes Lu Erlong. Erlong fell in love with Yu Xiaojiang, not Flanders, in the end. Although the relationship between the three people was not made public, Flanders knew that Lu Erlong didn't like him, so he made Lu Erlong and Yu Xiaojiang happy and personally hosted the wedding for them. Just as the two were preparing to complete the wedding, Lu Erlong's father Yu Luomian somehow found out about the two of them and rushed over to stop the ongoing wedding. Yu Xiaojiang didn't know until Yu Luomian arrived that Lu Erlong was actually his cousin. The joke was so big that he felt like God had played a joke on him again. Yu Xiaojiang ran away alone that night. This was why Lu Erlong seemed to have lost all energy, and that's why Catherine interrupted to tell Yuan Changqing not to ask so many questions. Yuan Changqing never asked about the golden triangle again. Then Erlong, you can stay at my house for 2 more days and let Yu Yan and Catherine accompany you to visit Tiando City. Lu Erlong said, thank you, Teacher Yuan. Yuan Changqing replied, it's okay. You and Yu Yan and Catherine are sisters, so let them relax with you. Catherine said, I still need you to tell me. Yu Yan, Erlong, and I have agreed that we will live at home these days. Yuan Changqing nodded and said, well, now that you have agreed, that's fine, but Erlong, do you plan to stay in Tiando City in the future? Wang Yu Yan and Catherine also looked at Lu Erlong, and Lu Erlong also hesitated and said, I don't know now, I haven't thought about it yet. Catherine quickly said, Erlong, I think you can live in Tiando City. In the future, we can meet often and go shopping together. Yu Yan and I can also introduce new friends to you. That would be great. Lu Erlong was also moved by the words, and said, Catherine, Yu Yan, let me think about it. I can't make this decision yet. Catherine wanted to persuade her again, but Wang Yuyan quickly pulled Catherine, shook her head, and said to Lu Erlong, Erlong, then think about it more, let's have some fun these days. Looking at Lu Erlong's look, Yuan Changqing knew that she was still unwilling to give in, and wanted to find Yu Xiaojiang back. However, the final result may have disappointed Lu Erlong, and she still failed to find Yu Xiaojiang. Later, after failing to find Yu Xiaojiang, Lu Erlong will establish a school in Tiando City, Lanba Academy. Dear readers, please add more favorites, recommendations, and support. Please make your first order, please subscribe.